Hi, welcome to Chapter 6 on choosing a discount rate. In this chapter, we're introduced to the Gordon Dividend Model, which can be used to estimate the firm's cost of capital, but that can also be used to estimate the true value of a firm's shares. There's two different scenarios that we face when we're trying to figure out the actual value of a company's shares. One is when we're given the last dividend that the firm paid, and one when we're given the firm's next expected dividend. So if you remember, or if you're looking at the text, the formula for calculating the calculating the share price is that the share price is equal to the dividend last paid multiplied by 1 plus the growth rate divided by the required return, or the cost of equity, minus the growth rate. So if I illustrate two examples, it should make it more clear. So here's our first example. You're considering purchasing shares of Now Incorporated. The last dividend that they paid was 75 cents per share. We estimate that their annual dividend growth rate is 5%. You have a required rate of return of 10% on stock investments. So how much would you be willing to pay for a share of their stock? So let's plug in our inputs. Our last dividend was 75 cents. Our estimated growth rate is 5%. Our required return, or cost of equity, is 10%. So our estimated value per share is going to be equal to our last dividend multiplied by 1 plus the growth rate divided by the required return on the stock, or the cost of equity, minus the growth rate. So that would give us an estimated share price for these shares at $15.75. And there's the formula if you want to take a look at it. The next example is when we're given the next expected dividend, right? Bon Giovanni & Sons is expected to pay a dividend of $1.25 next year. So we're already given last dividend multiplied 1 plus the growth rate. The historical dividend growth rate has been 3%, and if you require 8% on your return, 8% return on your investment, what would you be willing to pay for a share of their stock? So we're given dividend multiplied by 1 plus G, and that's equal to $1.25 per share. The growth rate has historically been 3%. The required return, or the cost of equity, is 8%. So our estimated share value is going to require, or calculating that's going to require, a slightly different calculation, because in our numerator we already have our last dividend paid multiplied by 1 plus G, because we think the next dividend is going to be $1.25, and that's what it means when we calculate dividend times 0 multiplied by 1 plus G. That's just the next estimated dividend. So sometimes we're given that piece of information. So the share value is our estimated next dividend divided by cost of equity minus the growth rate. So that would give us an estimated share value of $25. And there's the formula. All right, hopefully that will help you on your homework, and feel free to send me an email if you have any questions.